Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So we have another post knocker in this week. I have repaired a post knocker before, but this one is different. This one's a bigger model than the last one. Still a Protech. I think the other one was a 250 and this is a 300S plus. I don't really know what that means, whether that's a 300 kilo weight, I'm not sure. Anyway, it's a different mechanism that makes this one work. And yeah, it's just bigger and different in there. Can't quite remember what the other one was like now, but I had a bit of a job picking it up because there's a leg on the back which must have gone down, so the whole lot was tipped over like that. But I can't plug it into our tractor because it's just on like a 1/2 inch probe there, but and then the return is like a 3/4 probe. That won't plug into our tractor. If I could have plugged it in, then I could have used the spool to push the leg out to level it up, and then I could have got the top link on, but I'd have needed a really long top link to pick it up, so I've had to use my chain winch as a top link to pull it over a bit. So that was the first little problem, but anyway, I've got it picked up and got it brought around to the workshop. The problem they're having with it is there's quite a lot of slack in all the joints and pivots. So when you're trying to knock a post in and then trying to square your post up, you'd move this bit one way or the other to square it up. But because there's that much slack in it, it doesn't really, it's pretty difficult for them to square the post up. So, they just want me to go through it all and sort out everything that's worn. When they brought it up, they did show me it was quite bad, but it's difficult to sort of. That arm there is wobbly at the top. That's not too much of a problem, but I might as well sort that while I'm doing it. I think the main wear looks like it's maybe in this bottom pivot here. And I think the pads, because that telescopic's out, I think they're worn in there as well. But yeah, we'll strip it all down and just see what needs doing. But the way this one works is there's a ram in there that pushes that lever, and that lever comes down like that, which pulls that rope and pulls that weight up to the top of there. And then when you let go of it, that goes back up, and then the weight drops onto that plate, and then you have your post under there, and then it hammers your post into the ground. And it pivots. There's a pivot there, that telescopic's in and out, pivots on there, and I think that's it. There's a rock spike thing on there, same as what the other one had. And yeah, rams all over the place. So I think what I'll do first is I'll undo them 3 bolts, and there's 3 at the other side. Then we'll take this main sort of tower bit off and the weight, get rid of that. And I can tip that on its side, and I can get to that bit to undo them, put new bushes in there, whatever they need. And then it'll also make this a lot easier to get this slot in bits. I think I'm just going to go to my local hydraulic place and get a load of blanks first, and then when I undo these pipes I can blank the pipes off, not get muck into the pipes, and then not end up with oil everywhere. So that is a furrow press that on that plough the other day when I put a press arm on it, that is a furrow press. So that arm pulls that along. Then you turn your plough over, and then it pulls that back down the field. The plowing's not very straight, but yeah, it just breaks the ploughing up a bit. But I've just been to get some blanks, so I'll start taking the rams off. that tight. I'm just struggling to get them undone. I haven't got, well, I've got a socket that'll fit on, but there's not enough room in there to get the socket on and the ratchet or the T-bar. So all I've got is my 2 adjustables. I've just bought that one when I got them hydraulic fittings. But I think, yeah, I haven't got any spanners big enough, so I think I'm going to have to get some big spanners because I often run into problems like this. I can't get the socket on from this side because it's up again there. Right, I have some spanners now, so we'll have another go. Wow, that's a bloody tight. Right, that's all them bolts loose now. If I'd made that plate a little bit wider, then I could have had them holes further out, and then you could have got a socket on there, or a ring spanner at least. You can take it in bits there and slide that lot out. I thought it'd be easier to undo them and remove that bit, and then when I take the weight, if you're trying to slide all that out, when it slides out, you don't know where the weight's going to be. But just undoing them 6 bolts and picking it up by there, you sort of know a bit more how it's going to balance. So yeah, I'll shift this somewhere out into the yard now, and then we'll might as well do it with a JCB. Put some chains through there, tie it either side, and we'll take the weight of that, and then there's that ram to come out. Take that pin out, take that out, and then this lot should come off. Right, I've got that bit off. Need to try and lay that down somehow now. But yeah, I should be able to take that off the tractor now, where I can pick that up with my forklift, and then I'll take all that in bits. Getting that laid down wasn't actually as difficult as I thought. So yeah, that's laid down. Looks like it needs them bushes doing in there, because when you wiggle this, there's a lot of play in that. So well, yeah, well, new bushes for there. Depends what the pin's like. Don't know what's in the end of the ram. That might have bushes in it as well. I think I'll take this bit in bits first. I'll take that pin out of there. That ram to take off. I'll take that ram off as well. And then there is a bit of slack in that. I think most of the problem is that. I might pull that pin out of that ram and slide that out and see what that's like, see how much wobble's in that as well.
Yeah.
So I've just pulled that out a bit, but I don't think there's any point in taking it all the way out because I've just had, that one was loose, so I unscrewed that, and there's like a wear pad behind them. Check that one's all right. So I'm just going to take this one out, see what that wear pad's like. If that's all right, then yeah, there's no need to take that bit out of there. I'll just tighten them up a bit. Surprisingly, they're not that bad, them bushes. I'll put new ones in anyway. Them bushes on that are fine. One at one side, one at the other. Goes on that, that's fine. That bit's all right. That pin in there isn't too bad. But I did ring up about some bushes, and he said they offer, I think that's what he's meaning, they offer a bit that you weld on there and a longer pin to take the slack out of that. That's what Protech offer as like a repair. So none of that lot is as bad as I expected it to be. I have just wobbled this though and realised that that is quite bad under there. Oh, that lot moves quite a lot. But it shouldn't move at all. So I might have to sort that out. So I'll just check that, make sure that's alright, and then I might have to take the main pins out. If there's one long pin. Oh, I think it's 2 pins. I think it's 2 pins. And then we'll take this bit off, maybe. I think that wear pad's alright as well. That's what's in there. It's pouring down now, so I'll have to bring it all in the workshop. I'll bring that bit in first, and then I'll have to drop that bit off the tractor, and maybe tip that bit, lay that bit over, so that's up in the air, and you can work on it. Then I can work on it like that. Got it all in the workshop now. So this bit, because I took that ram out of there, I can't like to pick it up, I want it tipped over on its back, but I can't do that because if I put a strap around there, I think that bit will all just slide out. But I can't push it back in, it's too tight to push back in by hand. I've slackened them off again, it still won't go back in, so I'll have to maybe use a ratchet strap hooked into there and around there and winch it back in with a ratchet strap, and I can put that pin back in for that ram, and then I can pick it up around there and then tip the whole thing over. I got that tipped up now. Didn't quite go as smooth as I wanted it to, but it's how I wanted it. So I'll make it easier to get that pin out because that's worn from there, so I need to do something with that. I have put a bit of box section in the pry bar under there, and that's got a bit of wear in that pivot. The top one is not as bad. Yeah, that one's pretty tight still. That one's a little bit of wobble in that. I think it's actually worn in that. So I might as well do something with that while it's like that. I'll take this arm off next because them bushes are all worn out in there. See what needs in the end of the ram. I'm just trying to get a parts diagram off Protech, but it's proving quite difficult. So they've sent me a manual, but it's just an operation manual. It doesn't tell you, doesn't have a list of any spare parts. So while I'm waiting for that, yeah, I'll take that off. It needs to come off anyway, so. So it looks like that's about all that's left of the bushes that was in there. I did say before they bring it in to wash it off and get all the grease off it. Obviously whoever's washed it off has done a very bad job of it. So yeah, everything's just covered in grease. But yeah, them bushes are in there, and then it's have the same in there. So I'll have to give that, I'll take that ram out and give that a good wash off. Maybe wash this off as well. Let's see what we need for that. I might end up having to source my own parts at this rate, because Protech are not being very easy to, not very helpful. The guy I spoke to yesterday was pretty helpful, but I rang him up to see if they did like a rebuild kit so I could get the parts before I took it in bits. He says, we don't really do a rebuild kit. He sort of, I says, right, fair enough, I'll get it in bits and then I'll give you a ring back. So I rang him back today after I sort of knew what I needed. I was talking to a different person this time. I said to him, like, the telescopic bit that goes in and out, where that pivots onto the frame that goes on the back of the tractor, I need them bushes. I was like, well, I don't really know, I don't know which bit you mean. So I was like, all right, well, can you send me a parts diagram instead then? So he sent me an operator's manual and parts manual, but there wasn't any parts listed, it was just an operator's manual. So I rang him back and said, can you send me a parts manual? He says, oh, I'll have a look and see what we've got. So I said, well, how else do other people order parts? Surely a parts manual, parts list is standard practice. He says, well, people usually send us pictures. So I said, right, I'll send you some pictures then. So I've taken pictures of like the bits that I need parts for and circled the area so you can't get it wrong. And I haven't heard back from them since then. So yeah, if you're a parts person, you need to do better. I don't understand why parts are so difficult. Well, the person that I spoke to yesterday as well said, because these holes are worn, he says they do a longer pin and then they do like weld on bushes to weld onto there to repair them to repair them. But I mentioned that to the guy I spoke to today, and he's like, oh, I don't know anything about that. He says, if you need some bits cutting out, we can cut you some bits out. I says, well, I can do that myself, but the fellow I spoke to yesterday said he did it as a kit. So, yeah, I might end up just sourcing parts myself and making parts, or, yeah, I'll figure it out. Right, I got the end of the ram cleaned up, so I can see that that is bruised over there. When you measure it, it's wider that way than it is that way. So I can't put a standard bush in there anyway, because that needs building back up. Or, well, I suppose I'll just ream it out bigger, ream it out to like 35mm instead of 34mm, and put a bigger bush in it. I think that'd be easier than trying to build it back up and ream it out to 34mm. That end, the bushes are worn out, but they haven't worn through them, so I can put some standard 34x30 bushes in there. That is bruised over as well, so that's worn through the bush and started wearing into the metal. So I'll probably just ream that out as well and put a bigger bush in there. That's the bush out of that pivot. I'll knock that one out. I'm guessing they'll be the same as what's in there. 60x50 bush with a shoulder on it. Yeah, so I need 6 of them. 2 for there, 2 for there, and 2 standard ones for there. So I'll go down to my local suppliers and see if they have any. But I need to go down anyway because I'm changing the start motor on my forklift. I'm putting a new one on, but the studs are too short, so I need some longer studs. Because that was the original starter motor that went wrong, but then I couldn't find one of them. So I put this one on, which was meant for like a Land Rover bell housing. This engine but on a Land Rover bell housing. Then it wouldn't fit on this bell housing, so I had to make an adapter plate because that was too small. The hub on there was too small to fit into the bell housing, so I had to make that. The proper starter motor has that adapter on it, but because I put that starter motor on with that adapter, the studs were far too long, so I had to shorten the studs. But now I'm putting that starter motor, that new one, back on it with that adapter, the studs are too short, so I need to get some new ones of them. Right, I've got some longer studs in there now, so that bit, just want some sealant around there, then that bit can go on first, and then the starter motor into that. Because of the type of gearbox it has on it, and like fluid flywheel or torque converter, whatever you want to call them, in there, it's all full of oil in there. That's why it has to have a starter motor like that, that's supposed to have a seal in the end to stop the starter motor filling up with oil, like what's happened with that one, I think. So hopefully with this one, new one on, it should turn over faster, start better. Right, I've got the start motor back on, got it all connected back up. So I'll give it a try now and see if it turns over any faster. Yeah, that's a lot better. The engine is stone cold, it's not been running today, and it fires straight up. Before, you had to give it quite a lot of heat, because it wasn't turning over fast enough to start properly, so you had to give it loads of heat. But that was no heat, just fired straight up, so yeah, that's better. So, I did get some new bushes, but they didn't have enough in stock. So I'm gonna, instead of putting them plastic bushes in, as you can see that one, it hasn't actually worn it, it's just squashed it out. You can see the end of it's not straight anymore because it's squashed this side out. So I'm going to put some oil light bushes in instead. Someone's had a go at putting that one in already. Yeah, I'm going to put some of them in instead. So I'll have to make a shim instead of a top hat bush. But I think they'll be stronger and they won't squash out like them do. And I've got them, they'll go in the end of that. They're 34mm bushes. Then I've got them to order some 35mm bushes to go in here, because you can see that one too slack, and you can see it's worn down there, so it'll just oval it straight away. You can see daylight down the back of that one. So yeah, I can't do any more with that until the new bushes come. Whereas I could ream that out and ream the ram out. Friday afternoon now, and I don't want to do that, so I'll leave that till next week when the bushes come. So I've just been to pick up the fast track, borrowing my friend Ben's fast track to take my Leyland up to Walsingham this weekend. So I just got home now. Cummins powered fast track. Yeah, it's a 3185 smooth shift. So I'll get the Leyland loaded up in the morning and then head up to Walsingham first thing tomorrow morning, Saturday morning. While we're on the subject of tractor pulling and the Leyland, this arrived today. So we've got a bigger turbo for it. Got a Holsit HX50. Brand new old stock off eBay for £315 I think it was, so it's a bargain. That's the size of the compressor wheel that's on the Leyland now. And that's the size of the new one. So that's 72 by 98, I think, compressor wheel. Exhaust housing's a bit too big. I might have to get a smaller exhaust housing. It's a 32cm exhaust housing. But yeah, that should give it some more power. Right, so that's all for this video. The end of last week's video, I did say that I'd be at Penrith tractor pulling, which will be next weekend if you're watching now, this weekend, when the video came out. But I don't think I'll be at Penrith now, but I will be at Emily Moor the weekend after. But yeah, I haven't got as much done as I wanted to do this week. Just been one of them weeks, but yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.